Happy Devil's Sunday. This is the Let's Go Devils podcast, season 9, episode 27. As we're streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, Twitch, and now on Instagram Live on the Let's Go Devils Network. I'm your host, Sam Woo, here with Scotty of Sirius XM Liquid Metal in his Beverly Hills studio.
Yes, sir.
The amazing Scotty. Scotty, I was talking to... Yeah,
Am I a magician?
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to a few people this week. I was like, yeah,
Uh-oh.
I know Scotty from Liquid Metal on Sirius, like name dropping. And they were actually like, normally they'd be like, you know.
Who's that?
No, normally they would be name dropping bigger names, but instead they're like, oh, I know him. I know him.
Wow. Okay.
I was like, yeah. I was like, all right. Because we were listening to the Rat 95.9 FM down in South Jersey.
Down the old shore. Okay.
Yeah, we're listening to the Rat, and that's the. Then we were talking about music. We were talking about all sorts of stuff. I was like, yeah, I know Scotty from Sirius XM Liquid Metal. Oh, that's pretty cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I helped you out there, bud.
Yeah, and I said, and Roger Allen Wade likes me, and I've never met the guy.
He's your biggest fan.
Yeah. I'd love to meet Roger Allen Wade one day when we go down to Nashville, you know. But, you know, we're kind of like teachers. We just can't take time off to get down
Yes.
there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's one.
Maybe someday.
That's one is en route from Vegas back to New Jersey right now. Maybe we could talk a little smack. He can't hear us, but he probably, you know, those teachers they can't afford airline Wi-Fi to listen to the show.
Yes. Well, that's what we've been told. So yeah. No offense to any other teachers out there. That's just the information we have been given from the teachers we know here.
Yeah. Can't take days off.
No.
Their pay is crap. The kids are obnoxious. Even though you're showing them how to finger paint. Not going to name names.
Oh man. Well, what's up, Sam? Well, it's been 2 weeks here. We took last week off for Memorial Day.
Yep.
I hope everyone had themselves a good weekend there. And keep in mind what Memorial Day is all about. We of course salute all those, that made that ultimate sacrifice. I have a good friend of mine from high school who was, lost him in the Afghanistan battles. Staff Sergeant of the Green Berets, Mr. Andrew Labasco. He was the old singer in my old band and love old Andy. Always try to play him some Metallica and Alice in Chains, every Memorial Day. So those were his two favorite bands. So just always keep in mind the reason of Memorial Day. We want you to, have a good time with your friends and family, of course, but don't forget about those that made that sacrifice. So
and their families as well, because
yes,
following that,
of course.
it's everybody talks about our finest military members, but it's the families that go through that with them, which never gets talked about, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And they have to endure, year after year. So we want to send all of our love out to them as much we can and support them however we can. And we're back this week. Unfortunately, we had some other heartbreaking news go on in the world of the New Jersey Devils, and that was the passing of Devils legend Claude Lemieux. 4-time Stanley Cup winner, 2 of which came with the Devils. And, I mean, talk about just a shock and I don't know, just something you were not expecting to see pop up on the little, Sports Center news ticker or anything like that.
Yeah.
And really devastated. We know there's obviously the relationship Pep had with the team and all of his teammates. You saw the posts like our good friend Ken Danico put out there. But also, he's a player agent. He's Timo Meyer's agent.
Yep.
Freddie Anderson's agent. So it's shocking and heartbreaking. And, I just send all my love out to his family and friends. I saw a lot of posts from Brendan Lemieux and stuff like that starting to come out. I'm sure they are absolutely devastated by all of this, as many Devils fans are, Canadian fans, Avalanche fans, hell, even some Red Wing fans probably still.
Well, Darren McCarty put something really awesome out there,
Yeah,
and
for all that rivalry there. Sometimes your greatest rivals, they get that respect, kind of like the Mets and Chipper Jones. They give him a standing ovation there at the end of his career, But yeah, man, just really, really tragic and heartbreaking about Claude Lemieux, an absolute just playoff legend for this team. What was it? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think it was 13 goals he had in the playoffs, or was it 14? I think it was 13 goals,
something like that,
in the Conn Smythe run that he won the Conn Smythe back in '95, the first Devils Cup. I mean, Claude Lemieux was a player that once the season flipped, a la, one of his players, Freddie Anderson. As soon as the season flipped to the postseason, they were able to just kick it in this other gear. And Claude Lemieux propelled the Devils, in that first championship run in '95 to the Cup, and very deservedly, won the Conn Smythe that year. And I know everyone's got a bunch of, memories and stories and everything like that. And hello to everybody on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and X. I see Matty Ice and Dubs and Wimpy, Robert Isaacson, Maria, Stephen Angle, everyone chiming in. The Meadowlander, what's up? I'm sure you all have some great memories of number 22 on the Devils. And even our very good friend Chico Resch, back when Pep was on the Montreal Canadiens. He kind of started a little something on the ice before a Flyers and Canadiens game. I don't know if you recall this massive brawl before the game even started. But yeah, that was old Claude Lemieux right there, just agitating the hell out of everybody all the time.
He was a pest when he played.
Oh, yeah.
And he played with emotion. And he played with passion and conviction. And oftentimes, it would rub people the wrong way. Scott Stevens, Claude Lemieux, in the locker room, especially during the Herb Brooks 1 year as coach, confirmed by Tom Shorsky, they would fight several times a season, like real fights. But they had one goal, and they had respect for each other. And, Claude Lemieux was a very sensitive person. Very sensitive person. That's my observation. He cared deeply. He cared deeply about his craft. He cared deeply about the players, the new generation, as an agent. Matter of fact, it was the super agent with a kind of client. I think I looked how many clients he had, and it added up to $300 million total in all their contracts combined, which is significant for somebody that, was a former player, four-time Stanley Cup champion. A lot of Devils fans are talking Ring of Honor for Claude Lemieux. I think that's long.
Hey, Meadowlander just put it out here. 4 cups and a Conn Smythe. Shouldn't that get you in the Hall of Fame? And by the way, woo! Thank you, Wimpy, who was apparently the the Claude Lemieux of roller hockey.
Ball hockey. Ball hockey.
Oh,
Yeah. And that begs the question as well. I've made it known on this podcast I wouldn't say disgust. I don't think that's the word, but just this.
you see this, Sam Woo?
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Number 22 right there.
Yeah. That. Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Same with, we had that same question with Pat Burns not too long ago. But, and apparently, according to the New York Post article, apparently that bothered Claude quite a bit.
Mm.
And, again, I'm not insinuating anything or whatever, but it makes you wonder about the Hockey Hall of Fame. Like with Stan Fischler, like, why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Like, what are the voters like? Claude Lemieux should be in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, 4 Stanley Cups, and he was a big part of those 4 Stanley Cups. He wasn't just a participant.
A major part of all of them.
Yeah. He wasn't just like a guy that just like, I'll be on the roster and, and just get my name on the cup without doing it. No, he was a big part.
We were just saying before, when the playoffs came, that switch flipped to to overdrive, and he was unreal in the playoff runs.
Yeah, and if you remember back in 95, Game 5 against the Flyers, I mean, it was supposed to be the Legion of Doom, the Flyers' year. Hart Trophy winner was Eric Lindros that year. It was a shortened season. Game 5, game was tied.
Didn't he?
He scored the game winner. Yeah, he scored the game winner up the ice, and he was like Mr. Clutch.
Yeah.
Always clutch. And even, I believe, in Game 6 in 2000 against the Flyers, when the Devils were trying to make their miraculous coming from behind 3-1 in that series, Claude Lemieux had a big part of that comeback. And seeing some of the old footage. Did you know that Larry Robinson? Did you know Larry Robinson? Yeah, Hextall.
Beat Hextall with that one shot, right?
Yep,
that one.
Yep.
Yeah,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. The high one over the shoulder, right? Yeah,
yeah. And when he was younger, he actually played with Larry Robinson. And
then was coached by him afterwards.
Yeah. So twice, like
yes.
Assistant coach Larry Robinson and newly anointed coach after firing Robbie Ftorek. So, I mean, the Colorado days, when Claude Lemieux left, I was devastated. Plays Avalanche. He entertained us all. I mean, that rivalry between the Colorado Avalanche and the Detroit Red Wings, mid-90s, that was like a heated, rivalry. That was like, I hate you, you hate me, and they did whatever they had to do to win. And Claude Lemieux,
and that was all Claude instigating that as well.
Of course.
Hey, look at this. Check this out. Matty Ice over here on YouTube saw Claude in Hoboken last year. I said hello as he was walking past. He was on the phone. He got off the phone, shook my hand, and chatted with me for a bit. What a class act. That's a great story right there, Matty Ice. Thank you for sharing that with our boy Claude. Yeah. Pete's dad called him Clutch Claude.
Yeah. And, there's a generation of Devils fans out there that actually didn't get to see Claude play. And you forget, he did have a stint with the San Jose Sharks in the end there. Mm-hmm. He tried to make a comeback for the love of the game. And, if you want me to describe Claude Lemieux, and Scotty, I think you would agree, he's everything that the current New Jersey Devils team needs right now.
Yeah. Yes, he is.
someone that is clutch can be an absolute nuisance and annoyance on the ice to distract the other team, a leader in the locker room, and somebody that has no hesitation of causing friction because he believed in what he believed in. Because at the end of the day, I mean, with all the, when everybody coming out, everybody respected Claude Lemieux.
Yes.
Everybody respected Claude Lemieux. I even remember watching the 95 Cup video. They said that even
Heaven
the bus
sent.
Yeah, the bus driver here. Yeah, the bus driver Heinz Ruthermar even complained about Claude Lemieux because it can't be too hot, it can't be too cold. Everything has to be perfect. The temperature of the bus. Even the bus driver even complained. But he was so focused on winning, and he had 4 Stanley Cups to show for it, Scotty.
Yeah,
and and
3 different teams too.
Yeah, and I didn't really comment on it too much after the news broke because, I mean, for me, just like many people, he was a childhood hockey hero.
Yes.
And I wanted to actually sit back and listen to what other people had to say about him. And pretty much everybody said just amazing things. Like even Randy McKay, I think, did.
Yes.
Recently.
Randy, Dano, yeah.
Yeah, all of them did. And
Robert Isaacson, you hit it right there. I think that he was the closest one to Claude. David Clarkson was the closest one to like that Claude Lemieux-ness out there on the ice.
Yeah.
But nobody was Claude, though. I mean, he was in a league all of his own, as that agitator. I mean, he was really something special at it.
And just like less than a week before, he passed.
He's on the ice. Yeah, up there in Montreal, man. It was...
Yeah.
And Maria, yes, I do think he's definitely got to go in the Ring of Honor. That's for sure. And I hope he does get into the Hall of Fame because I think he does. I think he does deserve it, 100%.
Yeah.
Remember when we were younger and you used to think like, because pre-internet days, you're like, is Claude Lemieux and Mario Lemieux brothers? Remember when people used to think that like a long time ago?
Isn't his brother Jocelyn Lemieux?
Yeah, Jocelyn, right? Or was his cousin?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Well,
but,
this is what I always say.
I remember when people used to think that,
This is what I always say because it's legendary. Like everybody knows that how the Devils missed out on Mario Lemieux on that draft and how it went down. But at the end of the day, I think the Devils got the right Lemieux, and it was Claude Lemieux when Lou Lamoriello traded for him back in 1990. Mario Lemieux went out to win 2 cups with the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Devils wound up winning 2 cups with Claude Lemieux, with the Devils. So, sometimes things don't happen for a reason. I mean, I would have loved to have Mario Lemieux on the team.
Oh, yeah.
But let me tell you. Claude Lemieux. Yeah. I mean, he is a Devils legend. And it brings me to another point, Scotty, about mental health. His teammate, Stéphane Richer, has been on record saying, about mental health, that he almost committed suicide even after winning the Cup in 95. And, the family released a statement saying that they're going to be donating his brain for CTE research in Boston. And it's going to be as transparent as it could be. And that's Claude Lemieux still giving back to the game and helping the younger generation of players that are playing, this great sport, just reading that, it's like, wow. He was like all hockey, Claude Lemieux.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just reading that.
And I know Stefan Risch, I mean, that was well documented that he did have, those type of issues. So, I don't want to veer off, into a really down spot here. I mean, unfortunately, that's the case with this situation, but we are at the end of May is mental health awareness month or something like that. So, if you know of any your friends or family that are out there struggling, give them a call, shoot them a text, just ask how they're doing, see how they are.
Yeah,
goes a long way.
Yeah, and our good friend Michael Landsberg, up in Canada, he had the show TSN, off the record during the pandemic. We talked about mental health, and he started the whole Bell Let's Talk. That whole movement. He does speaking engagements around the world about mental health and telling his story, about depression, about seeing a shrink, a therapist, whatever, and medication and all that, and the stigma.
Let's say psychiatrist.
All right,
seeing a shrink.
It just came out that way. Sorry, I'm trying, Scotty. I'm trying to be serious here. And, this is just another reminder, as fans, we do joke around a lot at the games, but mental health is real, and, in the world of CTE research and all that, we just have to be mindful. We have to be mindful that these players are human beings too. And, other players in the past, like the Boogeyman, if you remember, was it Derek Burgard? Yep. Yeah. And there was another, it was Mark Rippon's cousin. It was, I forgot his first name. Ryan Rippon? I forgot his first name.
There's a lot. Junior Seau. There's been a lot of cases with this, and it's a dangerous thing. It really is. Yeah. And a lot of these athletes, they go into these games knowing these risks, and they go out there and play for our enjoyment. So, we got to give it to them, and never be ashamed or anything like that. If you do have any, I know I've admitted it on here before, but I suffer from extreme panic attacks. I got major depression, social anxiety disorder, everything, a little bit of OCD. I've been in therapy like my entire life. If you feel you need it, go get it, because it can help you out. You may not need it forever, but you may need it to get some advice and some ideas on how to deal and how to cope with some things, because your body and your mind can create a lot of different, hoops to jump through. And if you don't have those tools, sometimes it can be very difficult.
Yeah.
So I always use myself as an example. I've been doing it for years and years and years. And, at first, I don't need to go. No, I needed to go. And it's helped me out tremendously, being able to control my panic attacks, and to be able to recognize a lot of things and work through them, and help myself live a little bit better. Because there were times when I was younger where I didn't know what the hell was going on, with everything happening in my head, especially in college and you're maturing and all that. Like, it was, so I needed that help. It just took me a while to realize, like, hey, it's okay to go get help. Because unfortunately, back in the day, a lot of you're a guy, just suck it up.
Well, it didn't.
If anyone tells you that, don't listen to them.
I mean,
go get yourself some help. There is nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
If you remember in The Sopranos, that was like the whole theme in The Sopranos.
Mike Peluso. There's another one too. Thank you, Wimpy.
Tony Soprano seeing Dr. Melfi and all that, and the stigma behind
they were also making sure that he wasn't spilling any names there to the old doctor, any some of that inside information.
Yeah. Uncle June, do you
Yeah.
remember that scene when they were golfing and, Tony Soprano was kind of ripping on an inside joke that he heard about Uncle June. And then he started to realize what was going on. And he's like, well, I don't need to see somebody. I can handle my own problems. That's like one of my favorite scenes, if you know what I mean. I can't go into detail because it's probably rated R.
Yes,
in details,
yes,
but
yes.
Down in Boca.
But yeah, no, there's
anyway.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of these guys, and we were mentioning them, and Peluso, the Bogards, and Claude got into his fair share of fights as well. So something to keep,
Bob Probert
in the back.
That's another name.
Proby, yep. There's another one. And you never know when these things, unfortunately, can take place. Like we were saying, Claude was just out on the ice was it game 3 up there? Yeah, I think it was game 3 up in Montreal.
Yeah.
So, like we were saying, if you feel yourself you need some help, don't be ashamed. Go get it. And if you know of any friends or family that you think might be struggling, just reach out and just say, hey, just wanted to check in and see how you're doing.
Yeah.
No bad will come from it.
Yeah. I mean, just recently during the pandemic, I remember getting DMs from people.
You see Matty Ice over here. Yeah. That's why we weren't going all the way through that scene there with Uncle Junior and Tony.
Muff? Oh, I said Muff? I meant rough.
Oh, boy.
You smell sushi?
Oh, no.
Uncle June. What are you doing? Anyway, enough of Sopranos.
But, all the love going out to Claude Lemieux's family. And he will always be remembered as a Devils legend.
I hope they induct him in the Ring of Honor. And I hope they wear 22 for next season.
Yeah. I hope they have a little patch.
Yeah.
Put it on there. I think they should. And I think so should Colorado and so should Montreal, because it's very rare you see that a guy have such a lasting impact on multiple franchises like that, and somehow not being in the Hall of Fame. So I hope they all do it. And I hope the Hockey Hall of Fame finally rights a wrong right there.
Yeah. We shall see.
Yeah. Yes. But other than that, it was very sad. And, like we said, we want to send all our love out to the families. And, there was some other Devils news that, rumors and speculations and, possibilities. And you see a lot of people starting to really hone in on this Nico Hischier contract and what may or may not happen with that. I think he will be re-signed. I think Sonny, who was part of the team drafting Nico Hischier, is going to re-sign him for a long-term deal. I think it'll be somewhere in the $11 million range. And then there's some other things to look at. And I know, Sam, you were talking about some stuff with our buddy Beer Baron. And it sounds nice in theory. However, I'm not sure Dallas would go for it. But why don't you talk about some of the things that have been out there recently?
About a 1-for-1, Shimon Nemitz for Jason Robertson. I forgot who put it out there. I don't know if it was Dave Pagnotta, fourth period. I forgot who put it out there. But for discussion, about that. I don't think you should even put Shimon Nemitz on that trade 1-for-1. And the reason why I'm saying this is because, again, this goes with the Quinn Hughes situation. Sonny Maeda holds all the cards here. He doesn't have to make that deal. But Dallas Stars, they need a right-handed mobile defenseman. They've got cap issues. They can't keep everybody under the cap. Could you possibly trade Dougie Hamilton in that deal? Only because they've got a 2-year out. Because of Shimon Nemitz, what he's asking for is going to tie up your salary cap for about 7 years. Just like the same deal. He wants pretty much the deal that Luke Hughes got.
Yeah.
Dallas can't even afford that. But could they afford 2 years of Dougie Hamilton at that price as they're trying to win a Stanley Cup? Dougie Hamilton would probably want to win a Stanley Cup. You got 2 years at $9 million versus.
But can you win a Stanley Cup taking away Jason Robertson's 40 goals this past year?
Well, that's for them to figure out. But I'm talking from a Sonny Maeda standpoint. He doesn't have to give up Shimon Nemitz in this deal. I don't think he should. He doesn't need to make the deal.
By the way, Metalander, Nico Hischier wasn't the consensus first overall pick. There was a lot of debate between Nico and Nolan Patrick that draft year. And Nolan Patrick definitely had more of the build for the hockey player than Nico Hischier did. So I don't know if it was so cut and dry there. There's a lot of people were talking about both those guys when they were coming up. Just saying. I think Sonny still has a really good, strong connection to Nico. But as what Sam was talking about here, I mean, I think that's a big part of it is once Fitzy gave that massive contract to Luke, Shimon Nemitz was like, well, I'm next in line for that bad boy. If Luke was a 4th overall pick and I'm a 2nd overall pick, then maybe I'd be getting even maybe a little more, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a slippery slope over there. And I think you're right, because Dallas does have cap issues. That's why I originally was saying, like, put Shimon up to Toronto, who definitely needs a defensive rehaul for Matty Nyes, or perhaps, to Minnesota for Quinn as part of a deal. But it is, listen, I don't think anyone would say no to taking Robertson's 40 goals. And Dallas now with Wyatt Johnson as well, they have some of that scoring backup. But those two were obviously a big 1-2 punch, but you saw what happened when the playoffs came. I mean, Dallas was getting like 13, 14 shots on goal. I mean, it was just that's not good. You're not going to win that way. So, listen, if we could bring in a Jason Robertson and pair him up with Jack and Jesper or something like that, holy hell. That would be electric at the Rock.
Well, Jack Hughes will finally get his winger.
Yeah.
He'll finally get his winger, that kind of winger that Chico Resch talked about last season, someone in their mid-20s that can fit on either side of Jack Hughes. You're talking about Robertson, Hughes, Bratt line. I mean, that line would be virtually unstoppable, in my opinion.
Well, again, I mean, Matty Ice does bring up a good point. That's another smaller player. I mean, Matty, I agree. I'm a big fan of Nyes. I think he would be great And also, not as Claude Lemieux-esque, but he can be an agitator out there as well because he's a big power forward and he's a young kid. He's only 23 years old.
I'm going to answer Robert Isaacson. He made a comment.
Hey, okay, go ahead. I'm going to read his comment while you're answering.
Okay. Oh. He says, I will say this, based on Dylan's interview on a recent podcast. He was talking about the guys being disgruntled with their roles and the impact of the room. I figured he was talking about Nemec and Dougie. From Dougie's standpoint, that was completely mishandled by Tom Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Everything was mishandled by Tom Fitzgerald. He is to blame how he handled it. No, I'm being serious.
Sam Woo has declared it is all Fitzy's fault right here, right now.
Yeah, because I'll tell you a reason why. This guy gets a no movement clause. He finally finds a home. He's been bouncing around the league, with Boston, Calgary, Carolina. Owner Carolina was too cheap to re-sign him. So finally finds a home in New Jersey, dedicates his career, his life to the New Jersey Devils after signing that contract, and now you want to trade him, right? When you got two young kids, Luke Hughes gets an extension, making just as much money as Dougie, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 7-year deal.
Yep.
And then remember when Dougie got benched, and then that whole scenario, and just the way it was just mismanaged, because honestly, I think Tom Fitzgerald's leadership sucked. He sucked, and he wasn't up front.
It got worse every year.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Now, this segues to Nemec. You got to think about Shimon Nemec here. His comparables, comp, is Luke Hughes. Yet, this is what Shimon Nemec is probably thinking. I'm the same. I was drafted higher than Luke.
Yep.
Only 1 year away. I get sent down to the minors. Obviously, he was the one that was being held accountable. And he's probably thinking, but what about Luke? How come Luke's not being held accountable? And you just gave him $9 million for the next 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then during that time period, remember Shimon Nemec scoring every game-winning goal in overtime and just being Mr. Clutch for that 8-week stretch in October through whatever. Remember what happened in Chicago? It was Shimon Nemec that remember I already wrote off Shimon Nemec a long time ago. Back the previous season. But here's Shimon Nemec coming in, proving himself. Obviously he improved. Obviously he listened to his coaches. Obviously he was doing everything he could to make himself better. But when there's no accountability on this team and a lack of leadership from above, I'm talking about Tom Fitzgerald, players are going to talk. It's like I'm sitting next to a guy, Luke Hughes, that's, I don't know, you pull his jersey and he blows his shoulder out, and but and he gets booed by the fans, But why am I always have to be held accountable? So what I'm basically saying is there was probably a double standard in that locker room, and it makes total sense why the players were miserable and complaining about their roles, and that led to a lack of focus that Brendan Dillon was explaining.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head, and I know we've said it 1,000 times here on this podcast or Devils After Dark or The Morning Woo about Dougie. He has every right to say no to that, because that's what he secured, that no movement clause. He has every right. And Tom Fitzgerald just coming to him expecting that he's going to agree to get shipped out to Vancouver or something like that. It's in Dougie's every right to say no. Because like you were just saying, and something we've mentioned another 1,000 times before, Dougie is someone who really dedicated himself to living in New Jersey. He practices there over the summer. All those nice little internet videos, Instagram videos, and stuff like that. Do you see? I'm sure they're doing them over the summertime, and they just have them stockpiled for the rest of the year and slowly just trickle them out. Not all players are going to do that. Dougie Hamilton, he went and did it for the betterment of the team to try and, spread the word about the New Jersey Devils. And so to get treated that way, yeah, for Dougie, I'd be pissed too. I will say, I will stand by this. I do believe he should have been benched when he was benched because he was playing horribly. And then as soon as he came back, man, was there a fire lit under his ass. And he turned into the old Dougie Hamilton again. And the points started coming. But do I blame him for saying, no, I'm not going to Vancouver? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think you are 100% correct when you say Tom Fitzgerald mismanaged that tremendously. And maybe all the players, maybe they're not so excited about having all three Hughes brothers because they know what that means. It means, yeah, they're going to be potentially, maybe that means, oh, well, we can just go do what we want because they're the Hughes brothers and we have all three together. I don't know. But as you were saying, as Robert was saying from that Brendan Dillon interview, it kind of seems like, that was the impression I was getting from that.
And there was no accountability, which we freaking complained about from day one, And notice that Sheldon Keefe still has his job, Scotty.
Yes.
That tells me Sonny Mate is a smart guy. He's probably making his observations right now. He got rid of the goaltending coach. Thank God. It's like 5 years too late. 5 years too late.
Finally.
The mess that Sonny Mate has inherited, I hate to say it, as much as from a dollars and cents standpoint, I think you got to make it right with Dougie Hamilton. New regime.
New Jersey.
New regime. If he still wants to be here, let him be here. Let him finish out his contract. But, again, you can't reward bad behavior. I would expect Luke Hughes to come back into training camp 100%, and he's got to put the time in, and he has to be a leader of this team because you got somebody like Shimon Nemitz, who I thought had a better season than Luke Hughes. Much better season. It sets a bad example, and you don't want that perception that the Hughes brothers get whatever they want.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Jack right now turned it on after the Olympics. He really did. He showed his potential. That's what he showed us. And he showed that he cared. I think that's a start. The trade for Quinn Hughes, let's go to that scenario. I've been bickering with Minnesota Wild fans on X for the past 2 weeks. I'm getting under their skin, Scotty. And even well-respected hockey reporter Mike Russo in Minnesota thought I was comical. But I'll stand by my statement. Sonny Maeda holds all the cards here. Bill Guerin backed himself in the corner after the season was over when Minnesota got bounced by the Golden Knights? No, it was Colorado. Colorado. And Bill Guerin says, we have to sign Quinn Hughes. We're going to sign Quinn Hughes. We don't have a choice to sign Quinn Hughes. Now, you just expedited the Quinn Hughes watch, because if you don't have him signed by July 15th, July 1st is the free agent day, he can get extended. Now what do you do with Quinn Hughes? Is he going to be a one-year rental for Minnesota? Sonny Maeda doesn't have to rush, because there's a difference between last year where you're talking about 2 years with Tom Fitzgerald trying to make a deal for Quinn Hughes. Why would on earth, and I don't know why the media keeps on reporting this, why on earth Quinn Hughes signed a 3-year deal, a bridge deal, so he could play with his brother at the end of his contract? Why risk injury and leave 5 years of guaranteed money on the table? Because this is the last year you could do an 8-year extension. I think you have till September 15th. Why would Quinn Hughes give up $17 million per, assuming that's his AAV, for 5 years of it with a total of an 8-year contract when he could just wait a year to play with his brother? Anything can happen in those 3 years. Jack could get hurt, seriously hurt. Luke can get seriously hurt because they've been hurt this entire time. He could get hurt. The best option that Quinn Hughes has is don't sign in Minnesota. Don't sign an extension. Bet on yourself. Either way, you're going to eventually play with your brothers. But why wait 3 years on a bridge deal? You know, it makes no sense whatsoever. And Sonny Mate is holding the cards here because he doesn't have to make the deal. He could just wait a year. It's different from waiting 2 years with Tom Fitzgerald or 3 years. We're talking about one measly year now. So this notion that Shimon Nemitz and all these players, because all these Minnesota Wild fans, they're all going wild right now, who they can get from the Devils. And they all think that Jack is going to sign in Minnesota. What's in Minnesota anyway? Minnesota's freaking cold. You know, there's nothing in Minnesota. You think he's going to bring Tate McRae to Minnesota? No. They're going to stay in New Jersey. They're partying in freaking Seagirt the other day. You know, it's like, what's in Minnesota? There's nothing in Minnesota, Scotty.
Well, there's a lot of lakes.
Yeah, there's elk. You know, there's
Mall of America.
Yeah, deer. You know, the Minnesota Twins, the last team that actually,
Vikings.
Yeah, the last team that won an actual championship. Kirby Puckett was like running to home plate. That's the last time Minnesota ever won a championship. Did you know that the Minnesota Wild and the North Stars have never won the Stanley Cup? And they call that, you know, like, oh, yeah, he's going to stay here. What? You haven't won anything. What history do you have? The first team left to Dallas. Hate to say it, Scotty, but not to sound mean or anything, but you're not going to, Sonny Mate doesn't have to do anything here other than get a good deal to get Quinn over and call it a day. But you don't, like Shimon Nemitz, like his name's being thrown around. It's like, I hate to say it, but I think you don't have to put Shimon Nemitz in any deal unless you have salary cap issues. If he's going to really asking something ridiculous like $11 million
Put him in
a year.
a deal for Matty Nice up there to Toronto.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll get done.
It might get done. You know, you got that criminal up there in Toronto, that GM, the guy that cheats, you know, gets in trouble, suspended by the league, you know. You know,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
I
talking
mean,
about.
yes. Yeah, I was big into the idea of possibly Dougie going to Minnesota. Thought that could help them out. And again, a 2-year kind of bridge. Because what's Kirill at? He's at like 17 million, right? I think per season.
Yep.
You know, that's a monster right there. Yeah, I don't think Sonny has to be forced into a move because I think the world knows that the Hughes brothers want to play together. So it's either I don't see Quinn resign. If he does, then he's doing Bill Guerin a favor because then Sonny then does have to then they do have to work a trade. If not, yeah, like you're saying, you can just wait until the end of this contract. And as we've talked about before, Bill Guerin's not stupid. He's not going to just hold on to Quinn Hughes and just let him walk out the door. When he's got a golden goose like that, he's going to trade him to somebody. It may not be the Devils, But if Quinn is not signing, he's going to trade Quinn somewhere and get everything he possibly can for him, which is the right move to do.
But just remember one thing. He devalues that whole trade scenario because the whole world, like you said, knows that the Hughes brothers wants to play together.
Yeah.
So who are you going to trade? If you trade him to the Flyers, right? Because Quinn can't stop that trade. The Flyers don't have to give up much for that 1 year.
What the hell? What the hell is Juicy Lucy Burgers? I don't even know what that is, Robert Isaacson.
That's all Minnesota has. Juicy Lucy
some fast
Burgers.
Food place or something?
I have no idea. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if Quinn resigns, he's doing Bill Guerin a favor, because then I think it does set in for a trade scenario. But if he's not going to resign, then yeah, Bill's going to have to trade Quinn probably at the deadline to somewhat. It could be Philly. I don't know who it could be, but he'll trade him and get everything he can for him.
Yeah.
Which is the right move to do.
A guy that's on a 1 year deal.
Exactly.
Well, on a 1 year deal. That's why I'm saying, like, Sonny has options here. He's the new guy. He's not Tom Fitzgerald, and so far he's made all the right moves. I mean, if I were Sonny, I mean, here's also the problem.
Juicy Lucy Burgers are cheeseburgers where the cheese is melted in the meat. Okay. All right. Won't they have that at like Applebee's or something like that?
Juicy Lucy. Do they call orange juice OJ up in Minnesota, or soda pop in Minnesota?
I think pop is kind of like lost now. They used to call it pop in Pennsylvania.
Really?
But I think it's kind of like a lot. I think most people just call it soda nowadays. But I think Minnesota, they may still call it soda pop. But either way,
I got to go visit Minnesota. Before I trash that state. I need to check it out.
It's actually it's beautiful in the summertime.
I'm sure it is.
All the lakes there. You get the jet skis out on there. When I was in high school, my girlfriend in high school, I think it was her aunt and uncle lived out there, and her uncle was a airline pilot. So we would get like cheap tickets, everything we took, and they had a house like literally right on the lake. But if you went there in winter, they had snowmobiles, because that's how you had to get around, because there was just so much snow where they were, and they were I think they were close to Minneapolis, right outside there, because they have that Six Flags over there. They had the Mall of America, and then we just spent a lot of time in the lake. Beautiful in the summer. I can't imagine in the winter though.
Yeah. But,
Michael says no one calls soda pop. Okay.
All right.
Pop.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wimpy. Bunch of pop.
I remember going to Seattle.
Boston. Pop.
Seattle, they say things different. I know that.
But yeah, so and also now something to think about, if you're Quinn Hughes, where are you going to probably get more money? Are you going to get more money by signing this summer or waiting till next summer? Because doesn't the cap also go up again?
It does, Scotty, but this is the last year you're going to sign an 8-year deal by September. So,
what's the max after that? Is it 7? After that?
it'll be 7.
How old is Quinn now?
27.
27? It'd be fine.
I know, but guaranteed money.
Yeah, but when you're Quinn Hughes, that's 1 year like that probably, and then cap will probably be even higher then, so his salary will probably be wanting to get out of that contract.
Cost of living inflation.
Well, that I can't comment on. Devil Heaven, I'm a drummer, by the way, if that's what you're talking about. Or if you're talking about hockey, I played defense and goalie. And I sucked at goalie, so it was more defense. But I don't know. If I'm Quinn, I would say go out there and do my Quinn Hughes things on the ice and then cash in for an even bigger payday.
Yeah.
That's my perspective on things. But Billy G seems to be good friends with the family, so he might throw him a bone. That's the thing. If he throws Billy a bone and he does sign an extension deal, then that means Sonny's going to have to do some negotiating and some trade deal to get Quinn over. I don't think it would. It all depends on if Quinn wants to help out Bill Guerin or not.
That's a big ask.
It is a big ask.
Because he'd be
I think
leaving
he
a
would
lot
get
of
more
money
money
on
by
table.
waiting. Yeah, I think he would get more money by waiting. Because then again, if he signs that 3-year deal, it's the same thing as, not being able to do a max deal, now or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. I would say Quinn waits.
Yeah. Well, we should probably get to the final thoughts.
All right.
Flew by. 1 hour just flew by.
Well, he'll still get all the money. He got another year in his deal. Their agent knows the cap's going up. Yeah, Jay Snow, it's we'll see how it all plays out, but I don't know. I don't think, as Sam Woo has said, I think it really just depends on if Quinn wants to be nice to Bill Guerin. So we shall see. My final thought is keep old 22 in your thoughts. And I think without a shadow of a doubt, he should be in the Ring of Honor for the New Jersey Devils. 2-time Cup winner with the team, 4 cups altogether, 1 in Colorado, 1 in Montreal, and Conn Smythe winner, and just an absolute legend. If the Devils and their ownership want to show that they are connected with this fan base, then you do right by a legend like Claude Lemieux. Put him in that Ring of Honor.
Agreed. 100%. I'll take it one step further, Scotty. It's time for the Hockey Hall of Fame to actually do the right thing and put Claude Lemieux in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I mean, 4 Stanley Cups. Conn Smythe winner. His resume speaks for itself. And that's all I really have to say. I mean, because it's amazing because when that happened, and and a lot of people were talking about his career and his accomplishments, I thought he was already in the Hall of Fame, to be honest, Scotty.
Yeah.
I was actually shocked. And I think it should happen.
80 goals in the playoffs altogether for his career. 80 goals. It's 9th all time. 80 goals in the playoffs.
I mean, he was Mr. Playoffs. When the moment was bigger, he was bigger. And it's a rare thing. He always stepped up to the plate when it mattered most. And he was consistent about it on the biggest stage. Claude Lemieux. All right, we're going to get out of here. Dropping the podcast about 20 minutes. We'll have State of the Fan Address on Wednesday. And we'll be back next week. Till next time, Let's go, Devils.